All right, so I figured this out finally. It took me a while because, after all, I haven't done this in the logical switches kind of way, because I'm usually using a flight controller, which means that the logic is pre-programmed into the flight controller and I don't really need to think about this. But it was a good exercise, actually. So this is how you can have a throttle safety defined arm switch, or throttle cut switch, as you would call it. Throttle cut is what we call, in the regular sense, disarm or arm. Now, when do we want throttle cut? We want throttle cut when our throttle is in the high position and we just want to disable the throttle in that moment. So we flick the switch and it disarms / it throttle cuts. Yeah, it cuts the throttle. And then we don't want to accidentally arm while our stick is in any position greater than -100. -100 being zero throttle in this case. 0 is when the sticks are center, and then +100 is when the sticks is all the way up. So what we want is we want our throttle to be 0, or to be smaller than 99, which is the first condition that I've defined. And we also want the switch SF to be in the up position. That's what defines our pre-armed state, okay? Just before we arm, this is what we want to achieve when we are just about to arm. We want the throttle to be low, we want the SF switch to be high. When I do that, you can see that logic 3 is active. You can see that because the L3 has lit up. Now let's go back into the next screen. The next thing that we're checking is we want to check what is our intention. Our intention is to arm, right? So in this case, the SF switch is changing from -100 to +100. Therefore, we select V2 to be 100. If we do that, so you can see that it lit up for 1 second, because that's the duration that we specified. It lit up for 1 second and then turned off again. The next logic condition combines the first and the second logic condition, or in this case L03 and L04, and says, well, when both of them are active, then turn on. Then that logic condition is on. And that logic condition will be on for 1 second, or the duration of L04, because when our throttle stick is low, as it is the case right now, and we arm, then logic condition 4 activates logic condition 5, and logic condition 5 activates logic condition 6. The difference is that after that 1 second, logic condition 6 disarmed, okay, logic condition 5 disabled, but logic condition stayed because we assigned a sticky function. A sticky function basically means that once L05 becomes active, the logic condition is active. Once the switch SF goes into the down position, that's what this arrow is pointing, it's pointing away from us, so it's in the down position, then the logic condition becomes deactivated, okay? So only when the throttle is low and we are arming, only then will it actually arm. If you have the throttle set high and you arm and then you bring the throttle low, nothing will happen. But if you arm by having the throttle low in the first place, then your sticky will stay and it will say armed. In order to make it do, we go into special functions, and please ignore my special functions from above. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the tracks that I want the radio to play, so the armed and disarmed track, as well as to override channel 3. And what we're going to do is we want to make sure that it's got that exclamation mark at the front, meaning when condition L06 is not active. We know that L06 is active when we are armed, so when we're disarmed / not active, we want to override channel 3 to a value of -100. -100 means throttle 0. And that's essentially it. And then we play around with this. We can say, okay, well, when L06 is active, then I want you to play the track of armed, yeah? And then when L06 is not active, we want to play the track of disarmed. Okay? And that's it. And the good news is that if you now go into your channel monitor, you can see that there is a little lock icon. That means that this channel is now locked because it's in the disarmed state. If we increase the throttle, you can see that my input is changing, but even if I arm, nothing will happen, right? Because our throttle isn't low, it's not safe to arm. If we decrease the throttle and then arm, then the lock goes away and we have full control over the output. You have to remember that the light blue color in my case is the output and the dark blue color is the mixer. Clearly says that on the screen. Your colors may vary, but you will see the indicator and you will know what is what. So you can see how that works. Now, in drones, it's a bit different, you know, like when you're flying drones or when you're flying anything that has an autopilot, nowadays you have armed and disarmed on a switch. In this case, our switch is channel 5, is assigned to channel 5, and that's why you can see channel 5 switching on and off. But I can also see that the lock on the side is also changing, so that's good, and that's what we want. And just as a quick demo, so when the throttle is low and I arm, I have full control over channel 3. If I disable or disarm, the output stays low. If by accident I arm while the throttle is high, and then even if I bring the throttle down, it will not rearm. It will stay disarmed because I should have put the throttle down first and then armed. And that's how most flight controllers work. So if you're just starting out with this radio, this is the right way to do it, because then you'll just get used to arming and disarming the correct way and the same way that it's being done on all other flight controllers, which hopefully you'll be using in the future. And that's it. So I hope you found this video useful. I'm gonna post it to my YouTube, and hopefully everyone can learn from this. But thanks for asking the question. I think this answers everything. Cheers.